right, good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Alan. I am the COO of ICE. On Thursdays here we talk about personal development, organizational leadership, different sort of management practices, and then RJ jumps in every now and again with vestibular dizziness and balance. So today we're going to tackle... Morning, Kelsey. So today we're going to tackle... some stuff kind of related to organizational development, more a merging of pop health and business management with CLIA laws and blood testing. So a merger of kind of two different topics that we have covered here before. This podcast brought to you by Rogue Fitness for all of your equipment needs. So if you saw my Instagram last night, all my stuff from my garage gym came in, so my car is full of Rogue cardboard boxes to take to the recycling plant. So CLIA is a term you may hear often talking about blood values, and it stands for the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Act. I believe it was in the 90s, sometime in the 90s. Basically, the government said it's way too cumbersome to try and manage all these different labs and tests and have each individual primary care office also certified and licensed as a laboratory to do these tests. And they went through and determined that a certain bank of tests are waived tests. That is, essentially they are so simple and easy to perform and interpret that they can't be messed up, theoretically. So things like blood glucose and lipid panels, which all originate with just a single finger stick, just a couple drops of blood, much like someone that is taking their own blood for a glucometer. These tests are so simple that they can't be messed up. They're waived, and that they would turn the federal government would turn over to the state governments the regulation of what sites can do these tests and what sort of regulation is in place. And in 37 of 50 states, there is no additional regulation beyond the bare minimum federal regulation, which is in the form of this sheet, which I have here. This is Form CMS-116, Clinical Laboratory. I realize the sun is now coming out here, so you're not going to be able to really see too much of this, but you can find this PDF. It'll basically be the first thing that pops up when you Google it. And when you fill this out, you're basically applying to be a site that can perform these wave tests. So anything that can be performed with a finger stick. The things we really care about as physical therapists, as kind of health and wellness type things, blood glucose, lipid panels, that sort of thing, are on here. And so, like I said, 37 of 50 states, you can just fill out this form. It's $150. So you fill out this form, you send it to a contact at the state level. They approve it. They send you back a little coupon book thing to pay. You send it back with a check for $150, and then for 2 years you are approved as a place that can do CLIA waived tests. And that lets you start taking and analyzing blood for some of the more simple blood tests. In the other states, the regulation varies extraordinarily, from needing a medical director on site who is usually a physician, to maybe just paying extra money to the state or filling out extra paperwork, to not being able to do it at all. So typically how it seems to trend is that if you're in a state where you can't dry needle, where the only person that can puncture the skin of another person is a medical doctor or a DO, then that seems to also be a state where you'll have the most trouble with CLIA, where you will probably not be able to do these tests unless you jump through a lot of hoops. Other than that, if you're in 37 of the 50 states, you can get started pretty much almost immediately. Fill out this form, wait some time to get approved, pay the money, get your waiver, and then you're good to go. It will vary greatly based on your state because it's a state-controlled thing. Michigan here, it takes about 8 weeks start to finish. So it can be cumbersome. You're dealing with state governments after all. A lot of paperwork. Michigan is all paper still, of course, so you're mailing stuff in by hand like it's the 1800s. No digital application or any sort of email form allowed. And then once you have this waiver, you can start to look at equipment. Again, I realize with the sun peeking in here, you're not gonna be able to really see this. Maybe if we can angle it. There we go. Okay, so this is what I use. This is called a Lipid Plus. It's about $150 for the unit, which is over here. Which, if you've worked with diabetics at all, or know someone that is a diabetic, you know that looks pretty much like a glucometer. Just a little spot for a finger stick for glucose, and then there's 3 spots here to do a cholesterol panel. This is a nice infrared printer that doesn't need ink. That's nice to have. Takes about 3 minutes to get a result from start to finish, and then those are just all the testing strips and stuff. So it costs a couple bucks to do a test for the testing strips for glucose, or for the cholesterol tests have a glass cassette. So you will lose a couple bucks testing someone, but I think looking at it from a prevention and health promotion standpoint, it's totally worth it. I'm going to get a ton of questions about this, and even though I'm about to say this, you can't bill insurance for this. There is a code for it, but it's for physicians only, and it's not worth your time anyways. I think it's like $1.70 a unit. So that's the main reason why now when you go and get a physical or something and they want to draw blood, why you usually end up going to some third-party lab for your tests anyways, because it's not even worth the physician's time anymore to do it there and bill for such a small amount of money. So you can't bill insurance for it, and that's kind of not the point anyways. If you want to be looking at individual patients, if you are working in with a CrossFit gym and you want to start to look at members, if you want to start looking to collect data, then you don't really want to be worrying about billing insurance anyways. You want to just incorporate this as part of whatever package you're offering. Where I see this probably working the best is if you're in a CrossFit type setting or a gym where you have a lot of members who are already interested in their health and fitness, to be able to run through these tests and show them where they're at. You can really kind of build the bike with blood values, showing people where they're at when they come in, maybe before they start CrossFit, where their glucose is at, where their cholesterol is at, and then check in with them maybe every quarter or every 6 months. I think that's really powerful. Also, of course, in the workplace, in industrial health, just looking at everyone in a preventative manner. Often people don't have these tests done until something is wrong, right? So most people don't have issues with their blood values until they start to manifest symptoms, and then we realize, oh, they're having these symptoms because they're actually a diabetic, but they didn't know that because they didn't get these checked until they started to have symptoms. So you can start to integrate these in your practice, whether it's your side hustle at the CrossFit gym, or you're trying to break into industry near your clinic, or that's the entire route you want to go. Very simply, if you're an APHPT member, I've created a master spreadsheet that shows you what the CLIA laws are in your state, what additional paperwork you need besides the Form 116, and who the contact person at the state level is to get more information. I won't give that out. People are going to ask, I know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give that out. I created that specifically as a membership benefit for APHPT members. So throw down the $100. It's worth it alone, that and many more benefits, to be an APHPT member. So you'll get access to that spreadsheet, and you'll be able to see what you need to do to get started. And as I said, in most states, you don't need to do anything additional besides fill out this paperwork, pay the $150, and wait a couple weeks. I think the sooner we get on this, the better, to really kind of get ahead of the curve in looking at blood values as predictor of injury, predictor of sickness and illness. especially if you're trying to offer it as part of a more comprehensive package, maybe at a CrossFit gym or in your clinic, or with presenting a pitch to a company to come alongside them in an industrial health manner. So if you have questions about this, feel free to drop me a comment here, shoot me an email, info@ice.physio. I'd be happy to talk about this. And if you want that spreadsheet that shows you what you need to do to get started in your state, you can go to aphpt.org and sign up for your membership for $100 and get started and get access to that. So I hope that was helpful. Quick and dirty here, getting ready to walk into the clinic this morning. Excited for this weekend. I see Kristen on here. We're going to have Kristen and some others up in Fenton for Clinical Management of the Fitness Athlete Live this weekend, teaching some folks how to come alongside fitness athletes. We have Jeff close by in Indiana teaching cervical spine this weekend as well. So going to be a fun, busy weekend for ICE. So have a great Thursday, have a great weekend, and let me know if you have any more questions about CLIA laws or equipment for starting to assess blood values. Bye, guys.